Sports competitions have been around for a long time. There have been well-documented sporting activities by both the ancient Greeks and Romans. Indeed, cave paintings from around 3000 BC show images of men wrestling. This film is about modern sports, modern sporting competitions, and the first trophies awarded to winners of those competitions. Let's get started straight away with the Carlisle bells. The Carlisle bells date back to some time in the 16th century and are believed to be the oldest sports trophy in the world. The bells are given to the winner of the Carlisle Bell horse race in Carlisle, Cumbria. This is in the northwest of England. The first race took place in 1599 in the reign of Elizabeth I, and the bells are the only remaining part of what was a larger trophy. The race is now run at Carlisle Racecourse over a distance of 7 furlongs and 173 yards. In 1673, the first Scourton silver arrow was presented. The exact origins of the Scourton silver arrow are unknown, but it was the first trophy awarded at the inaugural ancient silver arrow competition back in 1673. The real silver arrow is kept at the Royal Armouries in Leeds, and a replica arrow is awarded in its place today. The trophy goes to the first archer to pierce the inner area of the target, which is just 3 inches in diameter. This is from 100 yards away. The Royal Musselburgh Golf Club Cup. The old club cup from the Royal Musselburgh Golf Club dates back to 1744. This is known because the winner's name on the trophy dates back to that year. The club is based in East Lothian in Scotland. The trophy was first presented to the Musselburgh Club by its first winner, Thomas Macmillan, who went on to become captain of the club. The first boat race took place at Henley-on-Thames on the 10th of June 1829. The rowing race came about following a challenge laid down to the University of Oxford by the University of Cambridge. The challenge was to row a match at or near London, each in an 8-oared boat, during the ensuing Easter vacation. Oxford University easily won the first edition of the race. The history of the Grand National can be traced back to the early 1800s, when the first official races were organised at Aintree, a racecourse in Liverpool, England. In February 1839, Lottery became the first winner of the Grand Liverpool Steeplechase, the race that would become known as the Grand National. Back then, the horses had to jump over a stone wall, cross a stretch of ploughed land, and finish over 2 hurdles. The America's Cup. Despite its name, the America's Cup trophy did not originate in the United States. The trophy, which is affectionately called Old Mug, was named after the winners of the first race in 1851, which was a syndicate of wealthy Americans on a yacht dubbed America. Initially, the trophy was called the 100 Guinea Cup. The America's Cup was crafted in 1848 by the royal jeweller Robert Garrard of London. It is made of high-quality sterling silver. The FA Cup, the Football Association Cup. The FA Cup can claim to be the oldest association football trophy in the world. It is a knockout format cup competition open to all professional and many non-league clubs in England. In 2012, a record 763 teams entered the competition. The inaugural, the first FA Cup, was held in 1871 and was won by Wanderers Football Club. Here's a quiz question for you. What gets taken to every FA Cup final but never used? The answer you can find on my website, tavclaudain.com. OK, a bit of golf now. The Claret Jug in 1872. The Claret Jug, which was formerly called the Golf Champion Trophy, dates back to 1872. Although the Claret Jug has been presented to the winner of each year's Open Championship, the trophy is not the tournament's original prize. The first Open took place in 1860 and the winner was presented with the Challenge Belt. The winner of the first Claret Jug was Tom Morris Jr., although he only had his name inscribed on the trophy because of complicated reasons a year later. Today there are several trophies given out to the winners of the Wimbledon Championships. The very first Wimbledon trophy dates back to the inaugural tournament in 1877. This first trophy was called the Field Cup and was used until 1883. The Field Cup was replaced by the Challenge Cup between 1884 and 86. Both trophies became the property of William Renshaw after he won the gentleman's single title 3 times in succession twice. Spencer Gore, a 27-year-old rackets player from Wandsworth, became the first Wimbledon champion by defeating William Marshall, a 28-year-old real tennis player. He did this in 3 straight sets in a final that lasted 48 minutes. The winner received 12 guineas in prize money and a silver challenge cup. All the participants in Wimbledon had to pay 1 guinea to enter. The Calcutta Cup. Although the Calcutta Cup was created in India by Indian craftsmen, the trophy belonged to British expatriates who had established the Calcutta Football Rugby Club in 1873. The club only lasted a few years and was disbanded in 1878. To commemorate the Calcutta Football Club, the members melted down the 270 silver rupees in their bank account and turned it into a trophy. The trophy was presented to the Rugby Football Union in 1878, and the following year the first Calcutta Cup tournament was played in Edinburgh, Scotland. Today the Calcutta Cup is presented to the winner of the England versus Scotland Rugby Union match, which takes place during the annual Six Nations Championship. Scotland won the first ever Calcutta Cup 1-0, and that, in current scoring, would be 12-5. The Ashes urn is a tiny terracotta urn that supposedly contains the ashes of a cricket bale. The trophy is now used in the Ashes series of Test cricket matches between England and Australia. The Ashes urn is a playful representation of the two countries' cricket rivalry. The idea of the Ashes urn trophy was inspired by a mock obituary that the Sporting Times newspaper published after England lost to Australia on home soil for the first time in history. The obituary read, "In affectionate remembrance of English cricket, which died at the Oval on the 20th of August 1882. The body will be cremated and the ashes taken to Australia." A few weeks later, the English team went to Australia to play a series of test matches between 1882 and 1883. The team's captain, the Honourable Ivo Bligh, was presented with the Ashes urn sometime during that tour. Although the Stanley Cup may not be as old as some of the other trophies on this list, it is the oldest professional sports trophy in North America. The Stanley Cup was donated by and named for Sir Frederick Arthur Stanley, Lord Stanley of Preston and the son of the 14th Earl of Derby. Lord Stanley paid about 10 guineas, and for those of you that have no idea what I just said, that's about $50 at the time, for the trophy, which he wanted to present to the champion hockey team in the Dominion of Canada. The Montreal Hockey Club defeated the Montreal Victorians 3-2 to become the first winners. In its early years, the Stanley Cup was given to the winners of challenge games involving the top amateur teams in Canada. When the National Hockey Association, the precursor to the National Hockey League, was formed in 1910, they became the keepers of the Stanley Cup. Since the National Hockey League was founded in 1917, only one non-National Hockey League team has ever won the Stanley Cup. Since 1926, only National Hockey League teams are allowed to compete for the Stanley Cup. The Argentine Open Championship is the top competition for the sport of polo's best players. The tournament, first known as the River Plata Polo Championship, takes place between late November and early December. First held in 1893, the tournament is even older than the tango. The first ever winners were Hurlingham, a club based in Buenos Aires and named after the Hurlingham Club in London. Whilst not really a sport in itself, the modern Olympics started in 1896. They are quite important, and so they definitely merit a place on this historical timeline of sport and sporting trophies. The 1897 Challenge Cup was the inaugural staging of the Northern Rugby Football Union's Challenge Cup and involved 52 clubs from across England from the 1896 to 97 Northern Rugby Football Union season. The tournament was played over 6 rounds in March and April 1897, culminating in the final, which was won by Batley. The 1901 Major League Baseball season involved the inaugural season of the American League. There were 8 franchises in the American League and 8 in the National League. The winners in the American League were the Chicago White Stockings. In the National League, it was the Pittsburgh Pirates. There was no World Series because of an American League and National League dispute over player contracts. The Tour de France and its yellow jersey. The 1903 Tour de France was the first cycling race set up and sponsored by the newspaper Alto, ancestor of the current daily Equipe. It ran from the 1st to the 19th of July in 6 stages over 2,428 kilometres and was won by Maurice Garin. Whilst the sport of volleyball had been invented 27 years before, in 1895, and was originally called mintonette, the first YMCA National Championships were held in Brooklyn in 1922. 27 teams from 11 states were represented. Little is known about the competition or its winners. The 24 Hours of Le Mans is the world's oldest active sports car race in endurance racing, held annually since 1923 near the town of Le Mans in France. The first winners were the Frenchmen André Lagache and René Léonard. They drove a Chenard and Walcler Sport 3 litre and covered a distance of 2,209 kilometres. The 1930 FIFA World Cup was the inaugural World Cup, which is the World Championships for men's national association football teams. It was held in Uruguay. 7 out of 13 of the teams who participated were from South America. Nowadays, with the qualifying the way it is around the world, we will almost certainly not see this happen again. The hosts Uruguay beat Argentina 4-2 in the final to become football's first World Cup holders. The 1930s Squash Rackets Open Championship of Great Britain was the first edition of the British Open Squash Championships. It was inaugurated in 1930 so that both professionals and amateurs could play each other. The champion could be challenged by another player, who was normally either the professional or amateur champion. This was for the right to earn the title of Champion of Great Britain. The first designated champion was Charles Reed. The first ever Formula One world champion was the Italian Giuseppe Farina, who won it in 1950 driving for Alfa Romeo. However, this wasn't the first Formula One race, and that happened 4 years earlier during the 1946 Grand Prix season. The first ever race run to Formula One criteria was the 1946 Turin Grand Prix. The 1946-47 BAA season was the inaugural season of the Basketball Association of America. Following its third year, the 1948-49 season, the BAA and the National Basketball League merged to create the National Basketball Association, or the NBA that we know today. The league launched with 11 teams playing a 60-game schedule. The first ever winners were the Philadelphia Warriors, who beat the Chicago Stags 4-1. The Super Bowl. On the 15th of January 1967, the Green Bay Packers of the National Football League beat quite comprehensively the American Football League's Kansas City Chiefs 35-10. This was the first ever AFL-NFL World Championship and was known as Super Bowl I. It was played at the Memorial Coliseum in Los Angeles. In terms of popularity, it's difficult to imagine the Super Bowl as anything but big and very, very successful. But the first Super Bowl was played to plenty of empty seats and a waning TV audience. Righto, I'm pretty much done now, so that completes my investigation into sports trophies and a timeline of sports events. I know there have been many I've missed. I've just concentrated on some of the main sports. Please, in the comments below, let me know other championship or the first of anything that happened in a sport that you know something about. I'm always interested in finding out more about sport, and so I really will look forward to reading those comments. I will reply back to you. If you are interested in sport, you really should check out my book, which has thousands of the best sports facts and jokes. Also, I'm in the process of creating many films, so please have a look at my channel. And if you have enjoyed this film, please smash the like button and also consider subscribing as well. It doesn't half help me with YouTube. So thanks again for watching the film. Check out my other films, and I'll see you all soon.